What is up, internet peeps, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, fellows and fellettes? Anyways, welcome to Youth Night. My name is Intern Nick, back at it once again in the middle of Shanghai with no one else around. So it is what it is. Anyways, something to announce to you. Not an announcement though, don't get it confused. Those are coming later. Something we want to announce this week, we're going to be talking about words, the importance of them, the impact of them, and how we should be using our words. And for a quick little illustration of this, we're going to hop right into the YouTube clip of the week, which is a bad lip reading video of our president-elect, Joe Biden. So roll that clip, Josh.
Why do people think that I'm bad at gravity? I'm gonna need a flute. Nathaniel. No! They only gave me part of my breakfast. Like, why? I'm gonna get hungry in my car. You're probably a mistake. I think guac stains everything. I power wash it, but it will never get off of me. The green weird thing. Now spinach, that's really hard to get off me. I browned in the woods and had to put dirt over it. Do not get me a spleen, because definitely I think it'd be a crime. It bears repeating. Nathaniel. Here's your cyborg. I think a bug just went in my ear. Whoa, who do you have in your basement? Are you a fan of custodians?
Custodians?
Yeah, those who wipe it down or mop up our sneezes. I think I hurt my brain and now it's reversing. Peacocks. Riding my motorcycle. Hey, give me a Coke. Someday I might get a butt tattoo. I know you're both bored as heck. Mitsubishi to that girl. And you guys have a bunny? The internet is exempt from honesty. Sad sack and sassy pants man. Begonia. What is it? Ooh, it's a flower? Get a frickin' tie. I mean, dodgeball is it. There's not a funner use of rage here on this planet. It's so true. I hear a fly. We don't have any tambourines? You know what they say. Joey Biden always fighting. No, they got mugs that say it. We need new babies out there. I think we need time to make new ones because the old ones just become so big and so mean. Nathaniel, Freebird. No, that wasn't bourbon. That was just iced tea. Who took my coffin? Your head looks hard. Sometimes I might pretend to be Quincy Dillinowski and that I'm a coal miner. Don't try to fix me! You guys hungry? Take something like sandpaper salad. Go bite into that. And he said, no, I'll do it with the phlegm.
Nice.
I've got a fangirl. Yeah. Oh, Bursitis. It's wicked. Why am I coming back for you all? I bought good vitamins. Just stick it in and roll. Wait. Oh, this is just not very fun. Like, why this pimple? Listen, flirty time is not really outrageous, because that's just how I was made. Jettison. If there's one thing I hope you remember, it's this. Nathaniel. Ooh. I got a worm man in East Dakota.
And we're back. So a few announcements now for you. The weekend after Thanksgiving, that Sunday, there's going to be no youth gathering. And the Sunday, that is the first weekend of December, we are going to be having a service project. So there's not going to be a traditional youth night gathering on that night. So with those things in mind, You already know what it is. Like, comment, subscribe. We're trying to ink a sponsorship deal with none other than Lids. Because, you know, Josh and I have bad hair days sometimes. We need to put on a fresh little snapback to look fresh. And now that that's all said and done, it is game time, boys. All right, and today we're going to be playing a little bit of sudden death word guess. And it is the Thanksgiving edition, so be prepared for a little bit of Thanksgiving wording. Now, if you're wondering what this game is, what it's like, you could say it's 50% Wheel of Fortune, 50% Hangman, or another way I like to describe it is 5% pleasure, 15% pain, and 100% reason to play this game. So, without further ado, let's get it! So we're going to have you play along at home. If you have some people around you that want to play with you, we're just going to be putting up blank lines on the screen, and you're going to guess what word it is. And as the letters fill in, it's going to be easier and easier. So just respond in the chat, or if you want to play with people at home, that's fine. And for one lucky person in the chat, we're going to give you a super special prize if you win. So let's get right to it. Who doesn't love watching football on Thanksgiving? I love waking up early, seeing the Macy's Day Parade, and watching some good old football. Anyways, number 2, what it do? And that's right, never forget to count your blessings, because sometimes your blessings will count you. Well, I don't know what that means, but anyways, number 3, what it be? Just like I said before, I love waking up and seeing the Thanksgiving Day Parade. One of my favorite things. Anyways, now that that's done, number 4, I know you want some more. The only thing that I hate more than undercooked turkey is taking family pictures. But anyways, while you get your awkward sweaters on, or for Thanksgiving, I don't know what you wear, suspenders, we're gonna go and see if you can stay alive with number 5. There's nothing like some leftover turkey and mashed potatoes to put in a Tupperware and take to school and have your friends make fun of you for the day after Thanksgiving. Anyways, now that we're moving on to number 6, you know we're up to some tricks. The only thing better than those leftovers that you get made fun of is Black Friday shopping, where you get all the sales, all the electronics, all the goodies. But this year it's just going to be Cyber Monday like twice, so whatever, who cares? Anyways, we're all going to go to heaven with number 7. That's right, turkey and dressing. And you know I stay finessing because the Lord gave me his blessing. All right, everyone, now into a time of message. So prepare your hearts, prepare your ears, and let's get right to it.
Imagine this. What if the last 10 things you said, texted, or DM'd were put on a billboard along I-5 with your name and photo on it? Would you be excited about that? Would you be horrified? Let's talk about words. We use words to speak, we use words to write, we even use words to think. But have you ever used a word so much that it just kind of loses all of its meaning? Cup. 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 Yeah, that means nothing to me now. Words get a lot of attention, and for good reason. They are a huge part of our life. We use them for almost everything, and the language and words that we use is a huge part of our lives. I remember when I was going into the first grade, we had like a back to school night where we went to our classrooms and saw all of our books for the year. I remember seeing one in particular textbook sitting on my first grade desk that just said English on it. And I remember being so excited and said out loud, "I'm going to learn English." To which my mom said, "Josh, you already know English." I guess I've never been so great with the English language. But when we're little, like in first grade, somewhere in our young years, we are told, "Sticks and stones can break my bones, but words can never hurt me." But is that true? Of course not. We have all had words deeply impact our lives and, yes, hurt us. Looking back on my life, there are words spoken to me even decades ago that still stick in my memory as incredibly painful. There are also words spoken to me from decades ago that still stick out as comforting and joyful in my life. Our words matter, and they carry an incredible amount of power. But it's not just the actual words themselves, right? There's so much in communication. There's body language. There's the way it was said. Was there sarcasm? What was the intention? All of those things have weight and importance. And sometimes it's not even about the words themselves, but what they were intended to communicate. And with all this talk about words, you would think that we would use them carefully, but do we? Do we actually use words, and I mean we as in like a group, as a society, as a world, do we use our words carefully and think about what they mean? Honestly, not often. We kind of throw words around. We use them to joke. We throw them out in comments and text and messages, DMs. We use them often carelessly without thinking about what they are actually doing. We can use words to get a laugh, to make a joke, to try and make a statement or win an argument, or just to say whatever random thought popped into our minds at the time. But not often do we actually think about the power of our words. And this is something that we see all around us. From posts that go viral to people whose lives are destroyed by maybe one word that they said on social years ago, to 3 seconds of a politician's message that's posted over and over again, to famous quotes that find their way around the world. It seems that words are a huge part of our lives. But here's the thing. Words have always been important, even before social media and even before the internet. And we want to look tonight at a passage in the Bible that talks specifically and directly about the words that we use. Because no matter what age you are or what year you are living in, words have always been important. And God's word, the Bible, has some important things to say to us about words. And they are just as important for us to hear today as to the original audience almost 2,000 years ago. We're going to look at a passage from the New Testament letter of James. Now, this letter was written by James, the half-brother of Jesus. He was a leader in the early church, and he wrote letters to encourage and instruct brand new Christians and church members on how to live their life. And if you're looking for a book of the Bible to read, James is a fantastic one. It's only about 5 pages long, and it's filled full of wisdom and instruction about how to live the Christian life. So let's read together in James chapter 3, where James gives us some life advice with honest, maybe a little brutal, and definitely no filter. Let's check it out. When we put bits into the mouths of horses to make them obey us, we can turn the whole animal. Or take ships as an example. Although they are so large and driven by strong winds, they are steered by a very small rudder wherever the pilot wants to go. So James is talking about the power of one small thing to control and direct something much larger. Likewise, the tongue is a small part of the body. Consider what a great forest is set on fire by a small spark. The tongue also is a fire, a world of evil among the parts of the body. It corrupts the whole body, sets the whole course of one's life on fire, and is itself set on fire by hell. Whew! All right, well, James just comes out and says it. Our tongues and our words are powerful. They can cause huge destruction. Well, is there any good news in what James is saying? Well, yes and no. Just 8 verses later, James says no one can control the tongue. James is pointing out how by ourselves and on our own, our words will naturally lead us to destructive outcomes. And if we're honest, we've all seen this in our lives. We've all had words that crushed us. And if we're honest, we've all spoken things to others or about others that we wish we could take back. And here's one thing that James points out in his letter, and that is that our words are a reflection of our heart. And ultimately, we can't control the words we say, we can't control our tongue without changing our hearts. Because ultimately, what we think and feel inside will come out in our thoughts and into our words and actions against others. James goes on to talk about wisdom and humility. Let's read a little further on in James. But wisdom that comes from heaven is first of all pure, then peace-loving, considerate, submissive, full of mercy and good fruit, impartial and sincere, peacemakers who sow in peace reap a harvest of righteousness. See, here's one of the things that the Bible teaches us, is that our hearts, our motives, our thoughts, words, and actions are by default evil. That we have this sin nature that leads us off into death. And along the way, our words and actions towards others and ourselves are destructive. But there is a different and better way to live. That when we know, believe in, and follow Jesus Christ, who died and rose again so that we may have a relationship with God that starts now and lasts forever, our heart and our lives are changed from the inside out. And although things like humility and righteousness are not things that we can just come up with on our own, they are gifts from God. That He begins anew and puts into our hearts as He slowly changes us to become more like Him. And so ultimately, if words are just a manifestation of what is coming out of our hearts, then we don't need just to change our words. We need a new heart. We need to be recreated into a new person. And that is something that only Jesus can do. But in the process of making us new, God also leads us into wisdom, where we critically think about how to best live day to day. Wisdom calls us to speak and to treat others in a way that lifts them up, not tears them down. Because that is exactly what Jesus would do. And as Jesus followers, it's what we should do as well. We can use our words to try and glorify ourselves, to make people laugh at our jokes, think we're cool, get us lots of praise and likes. But ultimately, like James says, that's a wildfire that burns everything in our life. It leads to emptiness and destruction in the pursuit of trying to bring us attention and the spotlight. The way of Jesus instead is to use our words publicly and privately, said out loud or digitally. We are called to humility and righteousness. And this is never something that we will do perfectly. We'll never be able, like James says, to control our tongues and always speak about and talk about others the way that we should. I know that I do not always talk about and to others in a way that is the wisest or the most glorifying to God. But the more we go to God in prayer, the more we ask Him to change our lives, the more we follow Him, the more our words towards others will reflect Him. All right, I want to give you a few helpful tips to allow you to think about and use wisdom when it comes to our words. All right, number one, when you see something or read something that makes you really upset or angry, just call a time out. That's right. Don't immediately respond. Don't immediately comment. Just take some time to breathe and to calm down, and don't immediately fire back a response. I promise you, it's not going to be something that you are most proud of the next day. Number two, ask yourself this question. Does this situation need more words? As in, do I have to say this to this person right now in this way? You know, commenting, replying is not always helpful. Sometimes the best words you can say are no words at all. Number three, buy yourself some time. I promise you it's okay to stop and to think about what words you want to use in a response before you say them. Words once spoken can never be taken back, so make sure you think about the words that you want to respond. And number four, make it a habit to encourage others and to build them up. Often, our natural response to others is either sarcastic or negative. And honestly, that's me a lot of the times as well. But what if instead we made it a habit to speak to others positively, to encourage them, to compliment them, and to call out the good that we see in them? I think it would make us better friends, better family members, better people, and definitely would reflect better the love of Jesus into our world. Our words are powerful, so pay attention to the power of your words. That although they can be harmful and destructive, they can also be used for incredible good. So use your words to others, spoken and typed, to breathe life into others, to build them up, to spread the love and kindness that God has given us to others as well.
All right, everyone, that is right. Don't forget that your words matter. They have power, they have an impact on the people around you. So, in the words of the great Toby Mac, speak life. It's a beautiful thing to encourage the people around you, and I'm sure that we don't affirm the people that are closest to us nearly as much as we could. So, as you go out into your week, I want to challenge you to find someone, whether it's a family member or a close friend, just take a second, stop, and speak life into them. Say something you appreciate about them, something that they do for you that you really just means something that you're glad that they do, and just speak life to others. So have a wonderful week. Thank you for tuning in. This is Intern Nick signing off.